This is the best of VOCM Open Line.
On the line now is the technical director for the Newfoundland and Labrador Soccer Association, Adam Moy, and Adam and I are going to talk about Oh Canada, Oh Canada. Adam, what was it like for you yesterday watching that game?
Yeah, what an experience. Like, you don't often see Canada at the men's level at the World Cup, and then seeing them obviously get to the round of 32. It's just fantastic. So had a little watch party and enjoyed it with some close family.
Yeah, and we were holding on pretty tight because it got really, really late, and it was really sudden death at the end there, wasn't it? Because if there's a goal scored before the game is over, you don't get the extra time out of it to get your game back.
Yeah, what an exciting moment. That will be etched in history for sure, and the 2026 World Cup will just for Canadians that Eustachio goal will forever sort of live in eternity, I think. What you saw is two teams that don't get to that stage of the World Cups very often or ever, both South Africa and Canada. Just making it to the knockout stage for the first time. So you saw two teams. It was a little bit of a cagey match. I think, Canada were the better side overall, had a few more opportunities. Maybe could have won it a bit earlier, but again, left it late, and we got the result we needed.
Yeah, and that was the same with the Bosnia match, our first match, where we controlled the play, just couldn't finish. And then that's always the worry, isn't it? You can control the play, but if you can't get that good shot in there or two shots in there, you're going to come out on the wrong side of this just as easily as coming out on the right side of it. Adam, this is huge for soccer in our country, but it means a lot to soccer in Newfoundland and Labrador, doesn't it?
Absolutely. I think just starting sort of from a country level, looking at the men's national team and some of the recent success with Alphonso Davies' first goal at a World Cup last edition, and then now our first point, our first win, getting out of the group stage, winning a knockout stage match. The expectation for the men's national team, I think, is now, matched or going to start matching the expectation that we have for the women's national team, doing such a great job in that space. I think currently sitting 9th in the world on the women's side. So hopefully that parity and the men's can start matching what the women are doing. And then from, a more local standpoint, hopefully, this will create more interest and involvement for players and coaches and refs. And just fans watching matches and continuing to create such a great soccer culture that we have in Canada, but more specifically in Newfoundland and Labrador. Hopefully it's going to be more eyes watching Canadian leagues and noticing what talent we have. And again, what we have, the talent we have in this province is fantastic as well. So hopefully we can continue to promote some of the players on the boys and girls side, getting into some of the academies that we have across the country. And then at some point, hopefully it's going to or continue more investment. What's that look like? How can our leagues grow? How can we get more investment locally? We need more soccer facilities. We need more places and safe places for players to play. So hopefully it means, like I said, more interest and involvement, more eyes on the Canadian soccer landscape, and then more investment.
Yeah, and more investment is a big thing, because if you don't have the facilities to do the training you need to do, then you're always forced to go somewhere else to do it. And that's always a financial consideration, a barrier, I guess, in some cases from some great players we've seen over the years here. Back in 1994, when the World Cup came to North America, there was no MLS. There was no Canadian Premier League. There was no League One. There was none of the Northern Premier League didn't exist. In the wake of that World Cup, the MLS, which has grown to 30 teams all over Canada and United States, incredible play. We've got the world's greatest player here playing in Miami, comes to Canada from time to time in a game, Lionel Messi. The world has changed in soccer since the first World Cup. I guess we may not see as transformational a change after this one, but we certainly have the enthusiasm and the knowledge that there is still a great way to go, and that there's no reason why players in our province or across our country can't get there. Isn't that right?
Absolutely, and the MLS has become what the MLS has become over many, many, many years. So why not dream big, and why not see where the Canadian Premier League and the Northern Super League can go? I think more teams, like I said, more investment, maybe regionalizing the league a little bit, and having some more teams on the East Coast, and trying to limit some travel, which is massive cost, is going to help. But dream big. Hopefully, like I said, more eyes can be seen, or more eyes are looking on Canada and in some of the other markets that have phenomenal soccer cultures like Newfoundland and Labrador and St. John's, to maybe even get teams here at some point. So that's, I think dream big there. But then, like you said, we've got some phenomenal soccer talent across our province, and trying to, find different ways and different pathways to get them into some of the bigger markets, the MLS academies that we have here, or the CPL academies. And then I know the Northern Super League is growing as well. So how can we get some of the female athletes into those environments?
Yeah, we've got a number of players from this province now playing in these leagues, the Canadian Premier League and the Northern Premier League as well, don't we?
Yeah, we've got a few. I think we can have some more. We do have Lauren Rose been scoring some goals for AFC Toronto and doing very, very well in that space. And then Dan Nimick was born in Labrador.
Yep.
And he's a star player in the Canadian Premier League. So we've got a few players that are making a bit of noise, which is great. Being the technical director of the NLSA, I would like to see some more players, and I truly believe we've got some more players that can get into those spaces. We do have some players that are currently going on trial with CF Montreal's academy on the boys and girls side, which is fantastic. And then we've got a few players that have gotten some tryouts with some of the academies in the CPL, in the CPL being Calgary and Halifax, which is great as well. So again, like I said, just trying to find some different pathway for players. It's not easy with some of our players literally living on an island and trying to find different ways of sort of knocking on those doors. But we've been super grateful to some academies who have reached out to myself and our technical staff, and then given some opportunity to players. So hopefully we can continue to break that barrier and get some more players into those leagues. Maybe
we can look to that little country of Cabo Verde. Population less than Newfoundland and Labrador. I think just around 500,000 are playing in the group of 32 later this week. 500,000 people. But now, of course, they live in warmer weather off the west coast of Africa. But still, soccer culture, soccer's deep, and for a country with 500,000 people, less than our province, to make it to 32 on the nation's list is incredible. Now, unfortunately for them, they're coming up against Argentina in their round, so I don't expect that they're going to go too much further. And then you look over to Nova Scotia, Jacob Schaffelberg, who made the shot yesterday where Stachio got the rebound to score the winning goal. We call him the Maritime Messi. He comes from a community of Port Williams, which is a small community somewhere between Wolfville and Kentville. And, we can do that here. You bring the technical skills that you and the NLSA bring forward, other top coaches that we have here. You worked that way, and I think that you nailed it. Investment in facilities and from, whatever sector it is, private sector, government sector, whichever it is, to get those players to be able to accomplish what they're capable of accomplishing, because you don't want to see players not get to reach their full potential, do you?
Absolutely, and what a story Cabo Verde's been, getting to the knockout stage, like you said, being such a small nation as well. And then, Jacob Schaffelberg should be an inspiration for anyone on the East Coast, and seeing him do what he's doing on the world stage is fantastic. And like you said, I think it's just making sure that we're continuing to support the players, the coaches, the refs, making sure that leagues are going well, to give players that opportunity. Ultimately, the culture, I think, and that love and passion for the game is kind of what nations like Cabo Verde can, and players, individual players like Jacob Schaffelberg, kind of that's the X factor. So how do we continue to grow the culture, and then just support with those resources to get players from Newfoundland and Labrador onto the world stage as well.
Adam, we're going to play either the Netherlands or Morocco, the 6th and 7th ranked teams in the world. One of them, and they're playing tonight. We're going to find out tonight who we're playing. What are your thoughts on the group of 16 and our chances? What would you like to see from Canada in the group of 16?
Wow. Yeah, again, even just gives me goosebumps thinking about, playing the Netherlands or Morocco in a round of 16. Both are going to be very, very tough opponents in their own way. And obviously a lot of history behind both of those, a lot of football history behind both of those nations. It's going to be interesting to see who wins the game. I think tonight's match between them is going to be a very, very good one. What would I like to see from Canada? I'd like to see another performance that, is one that's brave. It's one that shows the Canadian quality, first and foremost, because we've got lots of quality within the national team and across Canada, from a more global perspective, but one that's brave, one that's resilient, one that's not afraid to lose, but going out to win the match, because I think we can compete. And when you get to the knockout round, then it's knockout football. Like, anything can happen. So continue to dream big, be brave, and show the quality and the continued quality on the world stage.
Adam, thank you very much. I'll be watching tonight. I know many soccer fans will be watching as well. And, of course, we'll be all tuned up for Saturday at 2:30. And they're going to be playing in the Heat, I believe, in Houston. So we're looking forward to that game, whatever comes. And thank you very much. And all the best for your work this year with the NLSA and working to help our players here in this province reach their potential. Thanks, Adam.
Thanks for having me on.
This is the best of VOCM Open Line.
And joining us on line 5 is Lieutenant Colonel Tony McDonald. And, of course, Tony McDonald wants to talk to us about the entrance requirements and what it means to be a resident of Newfoundland and Labrador for admission into medical school. Lieutenant Colonel, welcome to Open Line.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thanks for coming on. We just found out that the provincial government is expanding what it means to be a resident. So for admission into MUN's medical school to include and recognize Canadian Armed Forces and RCMP members from the province who by their work, by their trade, have to be outside the province to do that through no fault of their own, and whether they are considered get a residential requirement or not because they've had to go for their job. And they say they're changing that now. What are your thoughts?
Very happy. So first off, I want to thank your station and your listeners as well, because when this issue happened to my family last fall, when my daughter applied to med school, and she was told that she was not a Newfoundlander, despite the fact that I was born here, her mother was born here, she was born here, and we left when she was 2 years old because I got posted out of the province. So when this issue happened and the university came back and told us that we didn't meet the residency requirements, and I pushed this out to various media outlets. You guys were the first to pick it up, and I really do appreciate that, because getting this into the public and getting the pressure on the government was vital in making the change. So very happy with the change. I've been talking with Education Minister Paul Dinn, as well as his Deputy Minister Judith Hearn, over the last couple of months. So very happy, and I want to thank them as well for getting this done. And we're very pleased with the outcome. It takes into account the lives that Newfoundlanders and Labradorians who join the Canadian Armed Forces or join the RCMP have, and some of the issues that their family has to put up with, while also maintaining the integrity of the Newfoundland residency piece, so that you're not getting anyone from anywhere just popping down to take a seat and then fly away and practice somewhere else. You're actually the legislation, the way it's written now, I think meets its intent, where you're actually having Newfoundlanders and Labradorians into those seats, and more than likely will practice in the province then in the future.
Yeah, and I'm a parent of my daughter's in medical school, and I remember the anxiety that comes along with all the application process and so forth. It must have been a real smack in the face to be told, no, you're not a Newfoundlander and Labradorian, you don't qualify, you're from somewhere else.
Well, to say I was a little upset is probably an understatement. But there was a lot of confusion there as well, because when my daughter she finished high school in New Brunswick, because I was posted to Gagetown, and when she finished that, I was posted back here to Garrison St. John's, and she started university right away. So she went from high school in New Brunswick to university here in the city. And when in 2021, when she started her university undergrad program, MUN had two different costings for Newfoundland residents and Canadian residents. So because her high school transcripts came from out of province, she was initially considered a mainlander. And so we put an application in, wrote a letter to the registrar's office, and they granted her Newfoundland residency for her undergrad. So when the same issue came up with the med school, we assumed it was going to be a similar process. Unbeknownst to us, the government changed the legislation in, I think, 23 or 24, which made it a more restrictive criteria to get in, and so she no longer fit the previous legislation. So yeah, when that happened, you're left scrambling, because there's not a lot of time from the notification of acceptance or whatnot to the school and the actual start date. So, we were very upset when all this happened. And I mean, I was upset as a father, but I was also very upset as a member of the Canadian Armed Forces to go away, to be from this province, to go away in service, and then to come back and to be treated basically like an outsider, like a mainlander. No offense to mainlanders, but it was definitely a bit of a kick in the guts last fall. But full credit to the government, to the minister and his staff, and for the media outlets such as yourselves for getting this out there and getting it done. So, a big thank you to everyone.
So, Tony, that was last fall. The change is now. Is she in medical school yet?
No, because she cannot. So all this will do right now is the application cycle for next year started this past week, started on the 24th of June. Mm-hmm. So from June into August is when Memorial University will accept applications for the starting class in 2027. So she will have to put her application in this year. She will fall down into the Newfoundland Labrador pool, and then she'll find out whether or not she gets accepted next year. But as I stated last fall, I'm not looking for an easy entrance for my daughter into med school. She will have to compete with everyone else.
Oh yes, no, it's a difficult process to go through. Right. So it doesn't mean you're automatically in. Absolutely, and a nickel's worth of free advice, man. I'd apply for a few schools if I were her. To be honest with you.
We were really contemplating doing that as well, especially when we didn't know if this legislation was going to get changed. But this was really about giving her, as the family member of a family member of a Canadian Armed Forces soldier, a fair shot at a seat in the province from which she was born. So that's really all it was about, getting a fair shot.
Absolutely. Lieutenant Colonel Tony McDonald, thank you very much. And thank you for taking this as an issue on behalf of all the others in the armed forces, in the RCMP, other service organizations that by no fault of their own through work, they are placed to serve our country in other parts of the country, but born, raised Newfoundland and Labrador residents. And Lieutenant Colonel, it's great to have you back in Newfoundland and Labrador serving. Thank you for your service. And this is a great service above and beyond your standard work you've done for applicants and people that were going to face this in the future and now will not have to. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much as well. Bye-bye.
This is the best of VOCM Open Line.
And we are off to the races literally this morning here on Open Line. This Monday morning on the line with me is 10-time Telly 10 champion, women's champion, Kate Baisley. Kate, welcome to Open Line.
Hi, good morning. Thank you.
Well, number 10, was it more special than the others?
No, they've all been special in different ways. This one was special. Being number 10 made it, its own little thing. It was fun and exciting. And coming back after probably my longest injury ever, it was nice to get back get back to racing, get back with everyone, and go for the win. Yeah.
Kate, I've looked down through some of your times over the years, and they seem to be pretty well around the same time. How did you compare this year? I think you were 55 something. I'm not sure if that's official or not.
Yep, yeah, it was 55.46 this year. Not one of my fastest, and a couple minutes off the record I set last year. But goals are always fluid depending on the year, right? The weather, injuries, anything like that.
Yeah.
So, I guess I just prepare this year. I was really coming back. I was off the second half of last year, so I started back in the new year. And then I used the winter just to get back to running regularly in my regular mileage. And then, once spring sort of came, get back to my workouts and hard training. So just getting my legs back now.
Okay, and I hate to even say this out loud, but I ran a Tele 10 once, and I found that it was. I found that I was trying to save some energy for the end, but I actually saved too much energy. Do you feel like you got to start earlier to make the time? But when you're going as fast as you are, in less than an hour, do you pace yourself at any point, knowing that you want to do more at the end, or do you just go bang out the gate and I'm going to do that pace for the whole race? How do you do it?
Yeah, so I think with all the training, sort of get used to what is your race pace for a certain distance or a certain race course. So when the gun goes off, we do go out kind of bang on, ready to go. And you're trying to go as fast as you can at the pace you can hold, but barely hold for the whole race. So sometimes you may slow down a bit, and if you have anything left, the last 10 minutes or so, you're going to try to get, squeeze every last bit out. But it is... you run fairly consistently the whole race.
Yeah. Are you always running for the record?
No. There's been certain years I've been going for record. And so this year I was going for the win was my real focus.
Yeah, coming back from the injury and that you wanted to go fast enough to win, but you didn't necessarily need to break your own record, I guess.
No.
Now, you've won 10. You got a buddy that's won 13. Is that in your mind?
It is. I mean, it's still a bunch of wins to go, and it's never easy, but it's always fun to set different goals. And I just think, I have 10, which is the most, female wins ever by a few. But it would be kind of nice to go for the most wins of any person ever. So we'll see. One at a time.
Colin Fewer got 13 wins, of course, and you've got 10 now. Now, look, Kate, I know, and I'll give you a chance to be a proud mom moment here, but you're not the only runner in the family by a long shot. And, of course, earlier this month, Amelia, 13 years old in Seattle, broke the provincial record in the mile race for 4 minutes, 45 seconds, 0.74. And that wasn't just breaking the record for a 13-year-old runner, was it? She broke all the records for the province.
Yep. So that is the fastest mile ever raced by any female ever in the province. But it's also tied to the 100th of a second, the Canadian U18 record.
Wow.
They don't really start to acknowledge Canadian records until you're U18. So I guess, for the hope of kids.
Well, yeah, so if that's the start, she's at the...
Exactly.
It's incredible. 13 years old, the fastest mile ever run by a Newfoundlander, and that doesn't matter whether you're 16, 18, 20, or in the senior bracket. She is fast. And other people in your family are running too, aren't they?
Oh yes, I have 3 girls. They're all running. They do track with Crowgate Track. Play soccer, but they love running. Peter, of course, my husband runs. He was in the tele yesterday, so I guess there are a bunch of runners over here.
When I look at the tele final standings, I see you and Peter's names up around the top 10. But you're faster than him sometimes. He's faster than you sometimes.
I mean, I'm usually faster. If he's faster,
Yeah.
lucky year for him, I'll say.
Well, Kate.
Yeah, we're pretty close.
Pretty close in the 50s in there somewhere, right? Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, Kate, congratulations on a milestone of 10 wins, the Telly 10. It's a remarkable achievement, and of course, it's a testament to your dedication to the sport, and of course, and to the fitness. And congratulations to Amelia, an incredible run in Seattle. I can't imagine what she's going to accomplish before she's done running, but the world is her oyster, as they say in that sport, is it not?
Oh, yes, I think so. So we're just one bit at a time. As long as it's fun and she enjoys it, it's all good.
All right. Well, Kay, thanks for joining us this morning. And, of course, you were running, I think, possibly with a fellow that might have, Andrew Davies from Ontario, won for the men's. He may have broke the all-time record. I'm not sure for the men's. I know it was unofficial yesterday. But
it's official.
It's official now, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's great.
It was an amazing, unreal run, and he's one of the best in the country. So we knew it would take someone, one of the handful of runners, including like our Olympians, that could come down and get that record, because Paul McCoy's record was incredible. So he was one, and then he came down, he got it done. So it was great.
Kay, thank you very much for joining us this morning, telling us about your run, and congratulations again. Kate Baisley, Telly 10 female champion for the 10th time, running royalty from Newfoundland and Labrador. Congratulations and all the best.
Thank you so much.
This is the best of VOCM Open Line.
Joining me right now is the Mayor of Portugal Cove St. Philip's, Mayor Dave Bartlett. And Dave, you're talking about something special this morning, I guess, in your community, and a little bittersweet, I suppose, as well.
Well, it is, Colin, and thank you, Mayor Bent, for giving me the time to speak here this morning. And it is an important event, and we're honoring our fire chief, Fred Hollett, who is retiring. And just to acknowledge Chief Hollett, he's retiring. Had an incredibly long, distinguished service in fire and emergency services, and it dates back to the 1970s. And Fred has brought decades of experience with the Canadian Armed Forces, St. John's Rovers, the Fire Commissioner's Office, and we were privileged to have him join us in 2014. And I just want to say that we've been deeply honored to have him serve as our chief. His sense of humor, his camaraderie, his grace under pressure, and he's guided our department through a massive growth period. And I would think, sir, with your town as well, the rising call volume. So he will be greatly missed by our fire department.
Yeah, Fred Hollett knows everything there is to know about firefighting. He knows, all the good and bad that's happened over the years, and his wealth of knowledge must have been incredible for your community. And of course, my first show on here back in around the end of April, I guess it was, he was one of my first guests, and he was talking about brush fires down your way. They were started up already, and of course, then we got into things to do, and off the top of his head, Fred could go on and on, of course, because he had seen it all and done it all. What do you think is the most important thing of having somebody like a Fred Hollett? And there's only one Fred Hollett, of course, but somebody that has the knowledge and the depth of knowledge for a community like yours that has a volunteer fire department.
Well, as you said, Fred has probably seen it all, the good and the bad, and he's very aware of what's happening. The brush fires, fire safety is so important to him. Fred has seen, like I said, so many things over the years. He knows almost what to expect. He knows what to say. The landing fire that we had back in March, it was so wonderfully, I shouldn't say wonderfully, well organized. And, Fred had our neighbors from St. John's and from Pooch Cove and from Tor Bay. He has seen so much. It's like he knows what to expect in every situation. So we've been so blessed to have him, and we will miss him so much. He also has, he knows everybody. So if a phone call needs to be made, Fred can make that phone call. He's also led us into, acquiring a lot of new pieces of equipment, including we just ordered a 2,000-gallon tanker truck that will be, much needed in our town. Our town is growing. We need additional pieces of firefighting equipment, and people like Fred instrumental in making that happen. So, greatly missed.
Yeah, no, it's also wonderful to have someone like him who knows where the funding is, knows how to make the applications, and squeeze
Absolutely.
every nickel you can out of the province and the federal government for supporting fire stations like your own, and his wealth of knowledge is incredible. And congratulations to Fred Hollett, and I suspect that Fred Hollett's not going to be too far away from some fire departments, some matter that involves education and so forth into the future, because I'm not sure he can get out of the dressing room. It's all right not to have to play the game on the ice anymore, but you don't like to leave the dressing room, right? Because that's where the camaraderie is, and of course that's where his social background is for your
absolutely.
community and for the province, as in his roles there as well.
And if I may, we have a new fire chief coming in, and if I may, just for a second, Terry Scott, our currently deputy fire chief, he'll step into the role today. And this man has a lot of experience as well with the fire department for 14 years. And it was Fred. Fred was the person who took care, trained, we'll say, brought him along. And we're very confident to see new chief Scott step into the role. He's a longtime resident. He understands the community, well respected, very, very knowledgeable person.
Yeah,
So
you're fortunate to have him.
We're confident.
Yeah, absolutely. You're fortunate to have him. So congratulations to the new chief, Portugal Cove St. Philip's Fire Department, Volunteer Fire Department, Terry Scott. And I know that Terry's been around for a while. He knows a lot of people and knows a lot about it too. So he'll be a great asset to you. And I believe, if I remember correctly, former fire chief in Conception Bay South was out your way. Richard Murphy was, I believe, chief down there for a while as well. So we're solely connected for sure.
We are connected, and both of them, Richard, of course, came on with Fred in 2012 and retired. But no, we have been absolutely blessed with expertise in our department, and with the chief. And I'm sure the chief will be around, and we're so confident that to have Chief Terry Scott, and we welcome him and we congratulate him as well.
Man, Mayor Bartlett, let me just throw a shout out. Portugal Cove St. Philip's Fire Department, of course, were at the ready last year during wildfires to support their neighbors that were in need. They were on hand and, of course, offering support in many different ways. And that is greatly appreciated by all of your neighbors on the Northeast Avalon. And, of course, you probably had some involvement in the on the Conception Bay North area as well. But we're all here for each other. That's the big thing. That's the main thing. And no one knows that better than firefighters and our fire departments. So hats off to all of them for working so closely together.
Absolutely. We are so appreciative of our volunteer fire departments and all our fire departments. The name of the towns may be different, but everyone works together. Everyone's friends.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Mayor Bartlett, thank you this morning. Congratulations on your retirement, Fred Hollett, and welcome aboard Terry Scott as a new chief of the Portugal Cove St. Philip's Fire Department. Mayor Bartlett, you have a great day. Thank you very much for calling.
Thank you, Mayor Bent. All the best.
This is the best of VOCM Open Line.
We are going to line 4, where I have John. John, good morning and welcome to Open Line.
Good morning, Dan. How are you today?
Good, sir. Good. What's on your mind?
Well, I guess it's probably not only on my mind, it's on probably a lot of people's mind, but it seems like there's not enough people speaking out. It's all about the Public Utilities Board and their pricing and their pricing up to gasoline.
Yep.
It seems very strange that it has happened in the future and it's still happening, and it doesn't seem like it's changing whatsoever, is that the price of the barrel of oil goes up on the market, and if it makes a big jump, then all of a sudden the Public Utilities Board jumps in there very quick and uses an interruption, and then they'll set the maximum pricing, and up it goes by the 10 to 15 cents, whatever she goes on the market.
Yep.
And then
I think it's the New York mercantile market is what they go by when they're setting that. I think we've known that for a while. Hey.
Well, I know that the West Texas Intermediate was trading there last week. I mean, that was trading up below $70 a barrel, and Brent crude was just barely around $74 to $75 a barrel, and on the market. And I mean, that's not what you call really overly high. And concerned in that regard, because when she gets up to $95 and $100 and over $100 a barrel, then okay, it is starting to get
that's
up a
different,
bit. But we're paying the prices that we're paying at the pumps today is for a price of barrel oil, as far as I'm concerned, it's somewhere around $100 over $100 a barrel on the market, but we're still paying at the pumps today.
Yeah, you're saying that they don't correlate the changes in oil prices are too tightly guided to gas prices, which probably should be delayed somehow in changing going up.
Well, if they're going to jump in there, and when the price of barrel oil makes the big jump, that's fine, Danny. If you want to jump in there, that's great. Go ahead, jump in there and jump it up there. But don't be like the way they're doing. When the price of the barrel of oil drops down that same distance, they only comes in and takes a meager 2 and 3 cents off. If they jumped it up to 10, 15, why are they only taking 2 and 3, maybe 4 cents at the max off?
Yeah.
No. If you're going to jump it up that much and drop down the same amount, then you should be dropping it down the same amount, not leaving it a little small dip. And then they're saying they try to make it look like they're doing you the biggest kind of a favor by dropping it 2 or 3 cents on the market at the pump. Oh, big drop at the pumps today.
Yeah, I'm not even sure the PUB looks at it. I don't know if the PUB looks at it like that, but I know that's the way it's reported in the media. Oh, big break at the pump, 6 cents or 3 cents or whatever.
Yeah,
but the thing
that ain't no big break. 'Cause I mean, if you've got a 50-liter tank, which is not a big tank, if you've got a 50-liter tank at 3 cents a liter, that's $1.50. Now you're saving at the pumps.
Yeah.
Big wow.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, if you got 10, 15 cents, well, then you're going anywhere between $5 and $7.50 a tank at the pump, which is not like you call oversurmountable amount, I guess, but it is a $5 bill then at that rate. But I mean, somebody's making big lot of bucks at this here, and it's definitely. I'm going to tell you one thing: it's definitely not the person like consumer like me or yourself.
No,
there.
sir. You and me, John, we're not
right
making big money off it, but the oil companies are definitely doing fairly well. Hey, but do you remember when all this came in? Because all this came in back in, I'm going to say 99, 2000, 2001. They brought regulation in because everybody was upset about gas changing by 4 or 5 cents without any notice, and PEI had regulation, so the government at the time looked into it and decided to bring the regulation in, and I guess there was some sort of thought that maybe we control the pricing a little better for gas, but really that was never the intent. The intent is to be able to come out and say, this is the price of gas at the maximum you can charge, and just give everybody a heads up. But it never really was set up in a way that was going to, benefit us financially. It just seems to be a bureaucratic system that's been set up that we're paying for that tells us weekly, and of course in these times using interruption formulas when it goes outside the barriers, tells us how much gas has gone up yet last night. And that's really all we're getting out of it.
I mean, as far as I'm concerned, like I say, they're the only one that they're serving is the oil companies, and the oil companies are loving it. They're loving it all right to the very bitter end, because, well, I mean, if you had a business, and there was someone saying, okay, you can ask this much for what you're selling. This is the maximum that you can ask for. Yeah. And if it's only costing you a lot less than that to make it, and they're telling you can make it you can sell it at this, and you're putting it up there, and you're making the biggest kind of profit, you're going to love it.
Yeah.
I mean, the oil companies they're booming. They're making billions.
And the companies and not the local service stations, I wouldn't say, because, one load of oil comes in and costs them this, and the price may go up, and they may make a few extra dollars off of that tanker, but the next tanker comes in and it costs them X, and they're not making as much anymore, So I don't see the local service stations getting much benefit out of this at all.
It's not really, not the local service stations.
No, this is the companies.
They have their oil and gas come in, they're paying for that, but when it comes up and they puts the pricing in there, the maximum pricing, and you'll see it in every station. I don't care where you go, across Newfoundland and Labrador, you'll see it everywhere. That maximum price is what they're selling it for, so they're getting the maximum done. They're getting the maximum out of it. Yeah. And the oil companies, like I said, they're the ones who's making the big dollar out of it.
So, John, with the PUB,
the oil companies themselves.
Yeah. So, with the PUB, what is your thought on this? Does the manner in which they set the pricing need to be changed, or do we go back to, and I'm going to say this, kind of tongue-in-cheek a bit, but at the mercy of the oil companies saying this is the price and that's it, and we'll change it whenever we want without telling anybody, like they used to do before 2000? Or should the PUB be reviewed on their formula as to how they calculate, or the timing of how they calculate? Do you think it's savable in some form?
Well, I don't know. To be quite honest, I think that right now, at this time in our life and in history, or whatever way you want to call it, that we are basically paying whatever the oil companies want for it anyway. Because we're paying the maximum pricing anyway, and the oil, like I said.
But before we had no notice.
They don't have nothing. Yeah. Don't control anything on it.
Yeah.
And the only thing, but I mean, if you can set a maximum price, why can you not set a minimum?
Yeah. So the service stations and the companies are free to charge the minimum at any time. That's zero.
Yeah.
And that'll never happen.
Well, I mean, if you come there and if you, like I said, if you as a board can set a maximum, then with that formula, there's some way in that formula that you guaranteed you can set a minimum. Because when you're only setting maximum, the very first thing that you're wiped out is competition.
Yeah. I know that some service stations in outlying areas outside the main centers were charging 2 or 3 or 4 cents less a liter at one time. I don't know if they're doing it now or not, but they used to get business, I guess, or to keep business in smaller areas.
Right. That's what I'm saying. That's why you don't get no competition anymore. So it doesn't matter. Why would I go to Mr. Buddy's gas station when I can go over here for same pricing, and I got to drive 3 or 4 kilometers there to get to that one? No, I'll just go on in, go on in here and get it. I can get it the same price.
Yeah, but back in the 90s, though, John, when there was no regulation, people used to drive 10 kilometers to save $2 on a tank of gas, just on principle. Because back then you had no idea when the gas was going up or when it wasn't. So if somebody was selling it for 3 cents a liter cheaper, you were going to go spend your money there. You didn't save any money, but it was the principle of it. And of course, the backlash was so great on. I remember we woke up one morning in 1999 and gas had jumped from 58 cents a liter to 63, and everybody lost their mind. We didn't know it was going to go up. How come we didn't know? Why don't we have regulation? And then they brought in regulation, and here we are. Are we better off or not? And that's certainly debatable.
I mean, you take it down the street, they were going after his because it went over $3 a gallon.
Yeah. Well, they do. Yeah,
they're going over $3 a gallon, and up here in Canada, I mean, a gallon is almost $8.
Yeah, but it's $20,000 to get your arm fixed if you break it down there too. You're not paying any taxes for health care, so you can balance that one out if you want to. But if you took all the taxes off of gas,
going to the oil companies, that's not covering your health care
either.
No,
and gas costs far more in Europe and always has than it does in Canada, right? So I'm not sure why the markets are the way they are. But is the regulation the way it's set up here? Is it helping us or isn't it?
No, it's not. The way the PUB is done is not helping us, not helping the public whatsoever.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't believe that's helping the public at all.
Well, that's a good debate.
There's only one or two people that they're helping there. They're definitely helping the oil companies, and I don't know if by helping the oil companies that is more money going into the government or whatever in that regard as well. I do not know that portion. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's one or two things. Either you got to make changes, or to me, they should just dissolve the PUB whatsoever and just let her go with the markets and let her handle it, let her go there. I mean, if it did jump up 2 or 3 cents here and there, throughout the week and that kind of stuff, but then it drops down when she drops right down, this kind of stuff. Because back in the day when that was going on, it never ever used to go up 10 and 20 cents. I mean, we're supposed to be having a break at the gas pumps now because the federal government dropped just 10 cents off the excise tax. But we're still paying $1.90.
You'd be paying 10 cents more. You'd be paying more though, right? You'd have to add that back. So, honestly, it would be more.
It would be at $2 a liter.
Right. If they didn't do that, you'd be at around $2 a liter. You're exactly right. So, look, John, I'm gonna leave it there. But what I will finish off this by saying is that it was public outcry in the late 1990s that brought in regulation. Maybe it takes public outcry to change regulation. So I'll leave it there.
John, something got to be changed. Guaranteed that to help the people rather than helping making the rich oil companies richer. Because when they're getting richer, they're also getting greedier. Yeah. And when greedy people get greedier, look out, because then there's just going to be nothing but pure greed that's going to take over everything.
I never heard an oil company report a quarter loss. Okay, John, thank you very much for calling. Great issue. Thanks for bringing it up.
This is the best of VOCM Open Line.
And right now we're going to line 1 with Mike. Mike, good morning. Welcome to Open Line.
Morning, Aaron. How are you?
Good, sir. How are you doing?
Not too bad at all. Just want to comment on the recent statement, I guess, by the Minister of Department of Transportation about the brush cutting.
Oh, yes. Go ahead.
Well, the fact, it's totally understandable that they only got 2 or 3 contractors that do the work, and that to rely on those 2 or 3 contractors to get it done would take years and probably never get fully done before it's ready to be cut again. But what I don't understand is that department has its own workforce, and they have a workforce that lays off snowplow operators summertime because there's no work for them. So why don't some of those workers that get laid off, I'm sure they're cross-training in excavator use and whatnot, why not go and lease some excavators or buy whatever is more cost-feasible, get the proper mulching equipment, and put the workers to work doing the brush cutting?
Yeah, no, there's a fair question. The other thing, too, that struck me about it, Mike, is it sounds like if anybody's out there looking for something to be at, it sounds like a business opportunity. If we're doing, I think the province announced some $6 million of fencing and brush cutting for the highway. We've heard from Burin Peninsula already. We're hearing from the Southern Shore, of course, areas that want to see the brush cut back from the roads to give people, I'll call it a fair shot at, safety along the roads. And so there's an opportunity there. But yeah, no, it's a solid question. Is there some job that provincial employees can switch to at different seasons?
Well, I don't know why NAPE is not all over this. They talk about how snow clearing should never become privatized and never should be done by contracting. So what is the difference between the snow clearing being done by private contractors versus brush cutting being done by private contractors? It's pretty hypocritical. They should be all over this.
Yeah, and I know municipalities, people that drive the snow plows and the trucks in the winter, they switch to the other work that needs to be done in the summer. So maybe that's something that the province should be looking at. Maybe the union should be looking at it.
Well, even in my area, from Gambo now down to CWT, the sides of the roads now are becoming, there's little birch trees starting to sprout up, and, it's only a matter of time before that's going to have to be cut back. So it's a need all over the province, and obviously there's a shortage of trades people to do a lot of work. So if we have to be relying on contractors to get this done, I got to say, I was actually impressed that they came out and said we can't fix this overnight, and that there's limitations on what we can do, because that's a different song than what they have been singing. So I'm pleased with that, and why not put the workers that they already have in the pieces of equipment that can do it? You had them there, and summertime is a slow time, and you have workers laid off. I'm sure that they want extra hours, so it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, no, sounds like something worth considering for sure, Mike. Anything else on your mind this morning?
Quick thing on the MOU. There's one name that's associated with this MOU that is giving me some faith that this can be done correctly. And that would be Barry Perry. I don't know if you know Darren, but Barry was born here in in Poundco, which is now New West Valley. He went to school here, and with his background, I know Barry a bit, and he's a very knowledgeable, has a lot of integrity, and his name associated with this gives me some comfort that we can do it right.
Yeah, Barry's been involved in utilities for a long, long time, and of course has risen to the top of that sector, with various entities. But so when you say that it gives you faith, what is it that Barry brings that you think that can I guess maybe I wouldn't say override, but certainly influence what happens going forward?
I don't think Barry's ever had any political ties. So not being involved in the political realm, I think he's going to come at this from strictly knowledge that he has, and not because he's associated with a particular party or was associated with a particular party. So not having that in his closet, I think, would make a world of difference. Yeah, no, there's value in that as well. You need people from all different backgrounds, and of course, there's from the political world, there's nobody has a corner on the market of the best information. People that are at it on the ground every day, usually have the best information as to how these things work and know how to ask the questions that people that aren't at it every day wouldn't even think to ask. Exactly, sir.
Okay, Mike, nothing else. Thank you for calling, and great suggestion on the brush cutting. There you are. That's something for everybody to consider, and maybe the department will look at that. Maybe the union will look at that. So thanks for giving us a call this morning, Mike.
Not a problem, sir. Enjoy your 2-week stint.
This is the best of VOCM Open Line. I'm
going to pop on the line with Clyde. Clyde, you are on line too, and you want to talk about roads. Good morning. Welcome to Open Line.
Yes, I've been at this now 20 years, Darren, and I'm still frustrated with the way things work with government and the roads and other things besides, and the way they're acting in the House. I mean, we need to put people in there to do their jobs, not this foolishness, I call it, and don't make it worse what side it is, Darren, just try to get some work done and get something to show for our tax dollars and that.
Okay, so Clyde, you've been pretty vague so far. So where and what are you talking about specifically?
I'm calling from Bjorn Peninsula. I'm talking about the roads and other stuff that goes on with the brush cutting and stuff. I've been at this for years. You understand what I'm saying now?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay, then as far as I know, here on Bjorn Peninsula, we only got one contract to do one road so far this year. This has been the lowest in years and years that the contracts is not out there. There was a contract for the main road. It's called Black Brook up in Bjorn. Leads to the hospital. Department of Transportation is on that road. And the bid was put in last year. The company I'm working with right now got the bid, and it was pulled back. I've been talking to our MHA, and he said he'd been working on it for 7 years and never giving me no plain answer. So Barry Patton, if he's listening, I'd like to know why this was clawed back, and we got a paving company up here to do the work, and there's only 10 minutes away that they got their asphalt plant. So, and they had the contract, and I'm wondering why this is not going ahead. We'll soon be into Canada Day, July 1st.
Yeah, no, you're talking about paving or brush cutting?
Well, first of all, the brush cutting should have been done first, which was already contracted out too, and supposed to be done 2 years ago. That's not done, so that's going to lead to further work for the ditching, you know what I mean? If that's gone the way, the ditching is going to be a lot easier. And there's nobody on the road there. Mostly what you got to do up there, Darren, is the ditching. There's no driveways like we're doing a project in Little Bay here now. And there's over 200 driveways out there. So pertains to that'd be easier work. It was already bid on. It already went to tender and come back. And here we are still now up in July and no word on it yet if it's going to go expect a tender or somebody's going to get the work.
Yeah, so you're kind of up in the air there now. You don't know if tender was awarded and it was set, then you just got to wait for availability of the companies. But right now, your concern is you don't even have a tender out to get the work done, so you don't even know if it's going to happen this year.
No, that's why I'm on the air here now. It should be done. This is the main road to the hospital, schools, and St. Lawrence, Bjorn, all them places up that way.
Yep.
And it's a place, you go in ambulance. If you're in ambulance, you don't want to be beat up by the time you get to the hospital,
No, absolutely. And it's true in a lot of places around the province. And I heard the minister on from, I believe it was last week, saying that there's only 3 companies bidding to do brush work in the province. And, of course, they're doing a lot of brush work this year along the main highway, and they've awarded a fair bit of money to do that work in other places in the province. So it may be maybe more difficult to get to all the areas in a timely manner with regards to brush cutting. But if the tender hasn't even been let yet, then we'll wait and see what happens with that. And maybe if somebody with the Department of Transportation Infrastructure wants to let us know what's going on with brush cutting on the Burin Peninsula, please do. As for asphalt work, though, I'm not sure if do you know when they gave out their list of areas that they were going to do, if your road was on it?
That road is not on it
okay.
This year. It
So
was
it's
there
not,
last year. This was last year before this government took over. Everything has happened change, and when you went through the change.
Yep.
And why that didn't go through, I don't know. Like I say, they only got one contract, and as far as I know, the Premier did say that he's going to try to get the companies that's closest to the work. Well, you won't have to be moving around all this equipment, get it done quicker.
Yep.
And they did cut the budget back, so here we are, got a company here that can do it. Even if the brush cut is not done, there's no trouble to...
you can do one or the other.
Right?
Yeah, you don't have to do both. So
you can do the ditching and just make it easier if the brush cutting. That don't matter.
No, that's right. I know they like to do the ditch digging along before they do the paving, though, right?
Yes, that's what I'm with the ditching crew. See, the paving crew comes behind us.
Yeah. So you're kind of waiting to see what's going to happen, if anything. Yeah.
Yes, like I say, we got this job, just the one job so far this year. I was talking to the owner of the company last Wednesday, and he told me as far as he knows, he got nothing else on the books this year, only one paving contract.
Well, that's pretty hard for people trying to run a business and have jobs and so forth. To only have one job on the books. Are you able to get work even in other places, even if they don't do it in that particular area this year?
Yes, there's lots of areas up here to do there, because there was supposed to be an extension on the Winterland Highway, too, and this government canceled that, too, as far as I know. Everything changed when the government changed. What I'm saying is, basically, want to answer why this is not being done. There's a company here, the asphalt plant is only about 10 minutes away from where I'm talking about doing the pavement. So, how much easier can you get things done than that?
Well, there's a good question for transportation infrastructure. Where are you on the priority list? And if you were on it already, why are you not on it still? And, where's the work being done? Why is it not being done there? And is it in the plans to do it there? So you're kind of up in the air. You thought you were going to be okay, and now it seems like it's different. But different governments come in and do different priorities and so forth as well. So,
well, like you said about the company, if this company is leaning on just one job, they can't invest in equipment or do nothing like that. You need to look forward, and the season, like you say, is soon be July. It's soon be getting later now, and it takes time, right? But this project up there is one of the faster ones you can do, right? I know I've been at this now for 5 or 6 years. I'm a flag person by trade there now with them, so I knows the ins and outs of it all there anyway, or some of it anyway. I don't know everything, never will.
No, but it's hard on the companies, though, like you said, and they've got to maintain their equipment, and they've got to pay people and all that, and, they're looking for work, and, I'm sure they're bidding on stuff when it comes up, but hopefully something will come up there soon. But when it comes to where your particular area is on the list, that's something that only transportation infrastructure can answer for us. Clyde, I'm going to go to the break now at the half hour, but thank you for calling, raising the issue. We'll see if we can hear something from the department on that. You take care.
Yes. Well, if we don't, I'm going to get a petition up, and we're going to find out what happened and why it's not being done. And there's enough BS from it's our money that they're going to spend, and like I say, you have got to have a plan. But I mean, if you got a plan, we'll tell the people right out straight what it is.
This is the best of VOCM Open Line.
We've got Margaret. Margaret, you're on the air, joining us on Open Line. Welcome.
Hello.
Good morning.
I guess we're all hearing about now the government and artifacts and the Innu people in Labrador.
Yes.
And I was saying, the way I'm understanding it, I don't think the government is questioning the fact that the Innu walked the land of Labrador or that they had artifacts here. I think what's going on is the government is trying to, I don't know why they don't know, you think they would know, but I think the government is trying to figure out this group that's Inuit in Sheshatshiu. Who are they? Where did they come from? Like, when did they build the community of Sheshatshiu? Is one thing I'd like to know. Another thing is, before they built that community in Sheshatshiu, they used to come out of the country and go to the trading post in Northwest River. And they do their trade and they go back in the country somewhere. And I think in these later years, they used to come out in the summertime and pitch their tents across the river from Northwest and camp there for a month or two, and then they'd pack up and go on back in the country again. So I think this is what the government is trying to figure out. Like, where did they come from? Where were they to in the country? Hello?
Yes, sorry. I'm not sure. You think location is the issue, where they were in Labrador or not in Labrador? Is that what you're questioning? I'm kind of missing that a bit. They're suggesting that that they have heritage there. I believe a fellow from the Smithsonian was on last week, said that he would suspect 8,000 years. The government is saying that or not. I don't know if they're saying it, but what they seem to have in their records is 300 years and. That seems shy by a long stretch, to be honest with you. But so you think it has to do with where they may have been? I
was reading online yesterday. This archaeologist had on here. I'm sorry now. I should have copied and pasted. I could have read it to you. But basically, what I got from that, it's on the end part of his speech, was that there's a difference between nomadic and settlement. The Innu were nomadic people. They've been all across Labrador. We know that. They found artifacts.
Are you an Innu person yourself?
No.
Are you any Indigenous person yourself? Don't mean to pry, but I'd like to know where your perspective is coming from.
Yeah. No, but I just.
You are.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're Inuit?
I am. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But I think this is what's going on. This is what seems to be, I think, is the issue. It's not the artifacts or the fact that the Innu walked the land, but the Innu were nomads, right? And they followed the caribou. So of course they was all over Labrador. And like this archaeologist said, what I read yesterday, like there's a difference. See, I'm sorry I never copied it, so I could explain.
Yeah, no, that's fine. There's all kinds of stuff on the internet from different people, and we heard from the Smithsonian last week, and all of that. But I mean, look at why and to be honest with you, I don't know why the government has traditionally set their sight on 300 years, I'm under the impression that it's being looked into to see if whatever they can find can match up with what the Innu people are saying, and to come to I guess some sort of understanding of the heritage. But whether you're nomadic or not, if you're in Labrador, your heritage is your heritage, and you're there, right? And nomadic people.
Where did they come from? Did they come from Quebec, go through Labrador?
Where did anybody come from?
You know what I mean?
Like
where did they originate from? Like they talked about the Inuit people when the Europeans come over in the 1700s. They said they encountered the Eskimo people, and they called them.
They didn't know what they encountered, right?
No,
they had no idea who was
here. They described them as short in stature and slanted eyes.
Yeah.
So they don't know where they came from, but they're thinking they crossed over from Asia, right?
Yeah.
So
everybody.
Like the Innu in Labrador, where have they come from?
Yeah, and
Right?
look, I mean, if you listen to Neil deGrasse Tyson, he'll tell you that all humans came from Africa and spread out across the planet, whichever way they did.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's not necessarily, certainly not necessarily what everyone believes, and whether you believe the science or the way they calculate these sorts of things. But, did we all come from Africa? And if that's the case, when we're all nomadic to some degree until we stop moving, as people, you go north and, I think he even says that, being in the northern hemisphere is unnatural to humans. And I guess we learn that depending on how bad the weather is in the wintertime, but, and how far north we go. But anyway, it's an interesting question, of course, but
the Inuit people, too, they hunt and fish and trap on the land, too, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't think there's any question as to Inuit heritage in Labrador or nailing it down. And of course, human beings I don't think started in Labrador, so everybody came there at some point. It's just are you nomadic back and forth to north or even in the southern parts of the area? I don't know, but it's something certainly that I would I would like to see the provincial government look into what they've got, what the Inuit got, and what other scholars like you have one there.
I was wondering when they settled in Sheshatshiu.
Yeah, I'm not sure when that was. Sheshatshiu has been in recent history, and certainly in recent history, it's been a troubled sort of scenario, and they were trying to do different things, and that's when government gets in and starts imposing, the way people should live or how they should live, and the types of dwellings and things that they have to face. And of course, that's not always been worked out very well for Indigenous peoples across our country, right?
No, that's right.
Yep.
It should be all the resources should be shared. It should all stay in Labrador. But anyway,
yes.
Another thing I got to say too is that developing Gull Island, I don't think it should be developed.
Yeah.
Because you look. They built Churchill Falls, then they done Muskrat Falls. How much damage have they done to the land and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
And then what have the people of Labrador? What do the people of Labrador get out of it? I mean, even if you're on the island, because we're all one, like.
Yep.
Look at the light bills you pays every month, right?
Yep.
That's a lot of money.
It is.
Then you got them on the north coast of Labrador, and they're struggling to heat their homes.
Yep.
Right. And here we are with these two projects right in our yard. Like, I don't think anybody in Newfoundland and Labrador should have pay like that.
Well, we have lots of power, we have lots of oil, and we pay lots for oil and gas and electricity and all of that. And there's always that argument that we should be richer than rich, kings of kings, and so forth. Our own royalty, like in some of the countries in the Middle East that are kingdoms and so forth, have all the people sharing all the wealth. But unfortunately, that's not been the case. Okay, Margaret, I'm going to leave you there because I am coming up upon the break. But thank you for being the first caller this morning and raising those couple of issues.
Even the Inuit up north got their own territories and handles their own resources, right?
Yeah, they came to an agreement with the federal government. Yeah.
All the native groups in Labrador should be the same. Everybody should be treated equal.
Yeah, and they honestly they're fighting over that, aren't they?
Yeah, and I want to see Gull Island develop because Muskrat Falls drove prices of housing, everything up here. And the crime now.
Yeah.
All the problem was drugs and trouble.
Well,
and
that development brings with it its own troubles as well as prosperity, doesn't it? Yeah. No, we've seen that over the past number of years across the province. Yeah.
And what it is, they're going to develop that, and then Newfoundland and Labrador people's going to be paying for that the rest of their lives for power for somebody else. Like, where's the power of Muskrat Falls going?
Yeah. God forbid that's the case, Margaret. Anyways, I'm up at the break now. We have a lot of breaks, unfortunately, but here we are. And thank you for calling. You take care.
Okay. You too. Bye.
This is the best of VOCM Open Line.
I'm going to go to line 2 where we have Joe. Joe, good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, sir.
How you doing?
I forget your name.
Darren Bent.
Oh, Darren today, is it?
Yep.
Oh, I'm used to the other guy. What's his name?
Brian.
Yeah.
We did that
I'm more used to Paddy.
Yes. No, we did that just to fool you.
Now, listen, I got to tell you something now before I start talking.
Okay.
I got my phone full up. I got a flip open phone, eh?
You got a what?
A flip open phone.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, I remember those.
And I was fooling around with it one night, and I got a countdown on it. And when she goes down to 0, she cuts off. So if she cuts off before I'm finished, get Dave for me back, will you?
Okay, no worries, Joe.
Yeah. Okay, I heard hearing a rumor about old age security going up in July. Is that true?
Now that I don't know off the top of my head.
No.
I know that there's been some changes to CPP, I think, annually, and but I'm not sure if OAS is going up. Maybe it is. Let me just see if I can find out right quick. Here on one of these machines. Has it gone up in the last year or so, or has it been pretty stagnant?
No, never went up to 5 yet, I don't think.
Old age security benefits will increase by 1.2% for July to September quarter, raising the maximum monthly payment to roughly $751.97 for seniors aged 65 to 74 and $827.17 for those 75 and older. So it seems like there will be a possible adjustment in September. 1.2% of that, coffee and a donut or a small sandwich at Tim Hortons, probably. That's your increase?
So, okay. I'm on old age security, right?
Yep.
And I get $1,851. So how much will I receive now?
Okay, now, so old age security, is that with your CPP payment as well?
That's with everything, yeah.
Oh, okay. So CPP is a different thing, right? So I'm going to guess, let's just say $800 a month is OAS alone, okay? I'm not sure how much you're getting, but that's an average between how old you may be. I'm
68, sir.
You're 68, okay. So, so let's go back around $770 roughly. You're getting 1.2%. So you're going to get $29.24 increase, roughly around there. Now I think, do they take taxes out of that? I'm not sure, but yeah.
So that's $29 added on to the $1,851, is it?
Yeah, so that's added on to your OAS. Now your CPP portion, I'm not sure if that's going up or not. It's not 1.2% of CPP and OAS. It's 1.2% of OAS.
Yes.
Yeah. So
I got one more thing now, Darryl, is it?
Darren, yep.
Darren, yeah. One more thing to say. Now, I don't know if you heard it last week. There was a older lady phoned in. She just got back from Ontario, going through cancer. Now her landlord is putting her out.
Oh.
Now, what kind of cold-hearted landlord now would do something like that? Put the lady on the street. She going through cancer. And the doctor refused her treatment or something. I heard. Because he thought she was a drug addict when she got back here in Newfoundland. Now, if that landlord is listening today, if he hasn't got a full heart, at least, landlord, or whatever your name is, have a half heart and keep that woman in her apartment. She's on the street according to it last this month.
Yeah, that's something I didn't hear that particular call, but so she went to get cancer treatments in Ontario and she got booted out of their apartment when she got back.
Well, last month she got out according to it. That's what was on the open line last week.
Yeah, okay.
What kind of cold-hearted landlord would do something like that?
No, that's absolutely despicable if it's true. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then her doctor back here refused her treatment because she thought she was a drug addict.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's too bad. That's too bad, boy.
Yeah.
I'm sure they're looking into that because that doesn't make any sense at all.
Yes,
really
the other
doesn't.
guy was on last week. He said he was going to look into it. So what's his name?
Brian.
Brian, yes, boy.
Yep.
I was hanging up, and you was the only one I was used to was Paddy, eh, boy?
Yeah, Patty was here for a long time, too.
Yes.
Yep, yep.
Yes. But you was doing good jobs, though. Same thing.
Well, I appreciate that.
Same as Paddy, eh, boy?
You do what you can, hey.
Yes.
All right.
And you gotta put up with a lot of on the open line sometimes too.
Oh no, it's all good stuff. All good stuff.
I hear some phoning their mother and arguing.
No, I wouldn't argue with anybody. I wouldn't at all, Joe.
Oh, okay, sir. It's nice talking to you.
Joe, you
say
take care.
You say hello to what's his name there? With you now?
Dave.
Dave. Just
Yeah.
say hello to Dave for me.
Dave.
Yeah.
Joe's waving at you.
This is the best of VOCM Open Line.
We're going to go now to line 5. And on line 5, I have Simeon Jacopesh joining Open Line. Simeon, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to be on your show, and certainly like to acknowledge all the hosts, accommodated, the people who host VOCM. But anyway, to the point I want to make very briefly that last time I spoke to Brian, I spoke about the documentation of our existence in Labrador. But anyway, that's not important. The most important thing that we existed, our ancestors existed for many, many years, thousands of years. And then what I said was that there is no oral documentation their existence because there was no language to write about. There was no white contact at the time. There was no Innu writing at that time developed until later, years after. And we have existed. I know that for a fact. And I've seen the artifacts in Quebec border, like in Mishawashipu, and all over what my elders and my grandfather shared those stories, and other elders who shared the stories of traveling from Quebec to Labrador. Because there's one story that my grandfather always shared that my other grandfather, Tom Snowman, who passed away, he walked from Manuternam in Quebec in Wasatch Satil and walked to Fort Chimo and walked back to Boise Bay, Amos we called it, and then he got married there because he was falling in love with the woman in that area in our Nisqually Nation at that time before they changed it to Musqueam First Nations. We were Nisquallies, and he had to walk all the way from Quebec, from Manuternam all to Fort Chimo, and walk back to Boise Bay, and then got married there. And ever since he resided there. Anyway, the point I want to make out that ever since the Newfoundland Joint Confederation, I know there's some the historians and documentation that some people who encountered with our people in the first contact that happened in Labrador, and there was some documentation with William Cabot and all those people, the explorers that encountered our people, and eventually they set up a Hudson's Bay trading post near the old Davis Inlet, and they knew that there was some existence of our people at the time when they came to our shores. And ever since Newfoundland joined Confederation, year 1949, I'm not sure, so my memory is exhausted. And anyway, they knew there was Innu existed in that area, our people. But in fact, the fact is that they still, when Newfoundland joined Confederation, we were excluded when they joined Confederation. And the other First Nations were all signed the treaties in this country, Canada, but we were excluded. Is it because of the racial thing? I'm not really sure. They didn't acknowledge our existence, and today it's still happening. Over 70 years now, I must say, that when you joined Confederation. And today, the last few weeks, is what transpired in Labrador and Northshed, Northwest River. They had to cancel the exhibit show, displays about our existence and our culture and all that stuff that comes with our heritage. Newfoundland PC government putting a cap on our existence and infringing our rights as Aboriginal people in Labrador. But that's totally unacceptable. But hopefully that's what's done has been done. But where do we go from here?
Yes.
And the only way I think sorry.
Yeah, no, yeah. Where do you go from here? How do you get past this?
Yeah, I think what's done is done. The damage has been done, but how do we rebuild the relations with this province? There is no possibility of relations. Then I suggest the Innu should seek their own independence, which we are been seeking our own independence, and do what we have to do, I guess, to survive, rather than depending with governments. And I think the only way we can survive is generate our own revenue. The resources are within our Innu lands, and everything is being used to exploit our lands, and that's what's been happening there. The mine is there, and that's where the money has been mostly generated within our territory. And along with the North Sudbury government, we're saying that respectfully, because there are neighbors, North Sudbury government, and I'm sure we can find a solution for ourselves and become independent. And it's time for us as members of both community strategies and Nadrashis, including the North Sudbury government, to start mobilizing our thoughts, what's going to happen if Newfoundland continue to impose and infringe our rights and our existence, and what's the motive that's behind all this to make that drastic move by the PC government? And I'm shocked. And we have worked with the province, we have worked with a lot of people, we have a lot of respect from non-government staff people within this province. We got friends all over from St. Anthony all the way to St. John's, and that we worked along many years ago.
Yeah. So, Simeon, would you think that working with the province to sort this issue on recognition of historic attachment and involvement in Labrador is the first step? Because this seems to have I don't know why it came to a head when it came to this situation, but maybe it was heading this way for years, and it was just a matter of time before the clash, I suppose, between what the province has documented and what the Innu people have been saying. But do you not first have to sit down with the province or the province sit down with you and work through this in a way that you can find some agreement as to the Innu heritage of Labrador?
I think there's a room for us all that we can sit down reasonably and come up with a solution, come up with something that's going to work both sides. And I think we have to have a mutual respect, and I think the Innu people have shown that mutual respect. And I think long before the PC government came into power, we did have a mutual respect, and I applaud Danny Williams, the premier, who made a stand for us, and went to Ottawa with us, and he represents both this province very well, respectfully, and due diligently, and I believe that this can happen, but I think things have to be iron out what needs to be done to make. I'm sure there's room to move forward. No doubt in my mind that it will be, because everybody wants put their interest and their people and the people who represent the province from in Labrador. But I think there's room. But I think we need to have an understanding between the province and us as a First Nations people in Labrador. And I think all this unilateral decision has to end, and there has to be tripartite understanding rather than unilateral decisions keep happening at this time. But I'm pretty sure we can work together, find or revisit all those documentation, the archaeology and archaeologists, the documentation, and I'm sure we can justify more clear and understanding and work on that and based on those findings. And that's the only thing I see is we have to have mutual respect, and I'm sure the Innu Nation will come to the table and work together, and I'm sure it can be done. I mean, we're not kids here.
No, that's right. That's right.
We're not that younger anymore. I'm pretty close to 60-year-old man now. I don't have another 20 years or even 5 years from now.
Oh yeah, don't say that. Don't say that. You'll be around for a long time, Simeon. But yeah, you're right. And it's a great position to come from. One of willing to talk and willing to work, and of course, once you get that sorted, then any independence that you want to talk about, then you can go from there on a much stronger footing, I would think. But Simeon, thank you for the call and articulating the position of Innu and Labrador.
This is the best of VOCM Open Line.
And we're going to go to line 5 now, where we have Dave. Dave, good morning. Welcome to the show.
Yes, good morning. How you doing?
Good, sir. What's on your mind this morning?
Well, what's on my mind this morning is the other gentleman that was in there earlier. He was putting the blame on the PCs. Okay, so we have a PC government here, but that's provincial.
What issue was this, or is it just a general comment about politics you're making?
Well, politics and another couple things. I'm going to make it short and sweet.
No, go ahead. Yep.
We are here now with Newfoundland Labrador. We have a provincial PC premier, right? And they're trying to blame the PCs, but we're only provincial. It's still run yet by Liberal government, right? That's federal. So we're going to get a premier that's PC. It's still the whole country or the whole province is going to be run by Liberal government, right? So don't go blaming PCs. The only shot that we got in fixing the whole place anyway is, So, and the Innu, they were down here, and I'm Innu, Inuit, and they had the right to protest. They wouldn't let Yvonne Jones in, which was probably the best thing ever. And then the other one on top of that is they got the capelin fishery, and they fish capelin, that's what cod eats, and it should never be allowed. And then having draggers in, dragging codfish, that should be shut down. It should never be allowed. And we are now going to go back to another thing that we had back in the early frickin' 80s when there was no codfish.
Yeah, so you're talking about we're letting too much happen too quickly when it comes to the fishing industry.
Yes. Too much to happen too fast in the fishing industry because it's going to be gone to shit to get. And then the other one on top of that there, don't go blame the PCs. Right? The PCs that we have here do not regulate what happens in Parliament.
Everything affects everything, So when you're blaming politics, you have to blame all of it, right? Because no one party has been in power forever. And, to say, I've heard people talk about something, this is the Liberal this or the Liberal that or the Tory this or the Tory that. But, they're not far different, right? And everybody's had their chance, I suppose, and everybody tries, and I know that everybody tries to do the best they can when they're in there, but it's not going to satisfy everybody. And they all realize that as well.
Well, yes. Well, each to their own, right? You cannot make everybody happy.
Nor should you try. It's a mug's game, right? I think, to try to do that. Yeah.
If you see it every day going down, right? Come on. When is somebody actually going to open up their eyes, do something about it, make something of it, and say, hey, he's right, you're wrong, right? How downhill do we have to go, right?
Yeah.
It's easy to go downhill.
It is easy to go downhill, and of course,
right?
Sometimes
jump on a crazy carpet and slide. Jump on a GT and slide, and it's easy to go down. really hard to come back up.
Yeah, and of course, factors outside of Newfoundland and Labrador and Canada affect all of that as well, right? So as they say, even Batman couldn't save some of this, right? So, but we have to protect ourselves and ensure that that our governments are putting in the policies that we need to protect ourselves for the long term. Nothing changes on a dime, as you know, especially with government.
I know things doesn't change on a dime, but if you're going to keep doing the same boat, if you're going to keep doing the same thing, okay, so what I'm trying to say is, why have VOCM open line? Everybody complain about the same thing, talk about the same thing, and nothing get done about the same thing, right? Why is it nothing's not being done?
Yeah.
You're all coming on here, you're all saying it, you all want to bitch about it. Do something about it. Actually freaking do it. That's why, when Premier came down here and they moved with the Premier and then blocked out Yvonne Jones. Yeah, listen, Liberal is no good. It's just simple as that.
This is the best of VOCM Open Line.
I'm going to move on now to line 3, where I have Verna.
I'm just calling in regards to ferry service, the provincial ferry service.
Oh, yes.
I don't know if the public are aware or not, but the crew, they have no contract since March.
Oh.
Or does the captains.
And is that all the provincial ferry service or just in certain areas?
For Newfoundland.
Okay.
Newfoundland.
Yeah.
And like I say, before you blame the PCs that they're not doing their job, the Liberals also were aware of that.
Yeah, and are they in negotiations, Verna, do you know?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
But there will be strike actions in August, which means the captains and the crew. And so as far as Bell Island, one example, the last time we had one trip coming and one trip going per day.
Yeah.
And like I say, why isn't negotiations? There's people there. That's their job, to negotiate for these contracts with NAPE. Why aren't they doing their job? Why isn't that dealt with long ago?
Yeah, and I don't know much about it, but Verna, do you know if notice has been given to negotiate, or is it past that and they've negotiated, can't reach a deal, and now they're heading towards a strike? Can you bring us up to date on that?
Well, they could at any time come to talks, but why wouldn't they be in talks? It's been no contract since March.
Oh, okay, yeah. So, yeah, it is odd.
That is a sad situation, and I wish Mr. Pettin would get on, and he could give us the information on it, because nobody's mentioned it.
Yeah, we'll reach out to the department and see what's going
Pettin,
on with it. Yeah,
and as well as Tony Wakeham.
And the union.
And the union, like I say, but Tony Wakeham, number one, we've already got it Marine Atlantic. Now we're talking the provincial one.
Yeah, no,
enough is enough. Come on.
That would be devastating.
Don't sit on your hands.
Yeah.
It is summer. Yeah, everybody likes a holiday, but just because the house is
so
closed.
Has the union given notice of negotiation? Do you know of anything that's happened on that side?
Well, I know, like I say, they have X number of days that they would give notice that they would be going on strike.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know. As of August, that notification is gone. But it is hearsay that.
All right. Well, if that's the case, that sounds like negotiations have gone nowhere, because you don't give strike notice unless you have a sense that you're not going to be able to reach a deal. We'll have to.
Like I say, I'm not 100% sure on the information.
No, fair enough.
But
fair
like
enough.
I say, I hope you can reach out and you can get answers, because the people of Bell Island aren't aware and they don't get nothing.
Yeah. No, we're gonna reach out on that.
And it's time for Fred Hutton to get on and get the push in there too.
Yeah. Absolutely.
When the Liberals were in there, they didn't push, but it's time for Fred to push the PCs too. But don't blame one against the other. The people deserve service. It's essential.
Absolutely.
And I thank you. You have a good day.
Thanks, Verna. You have the last word on Open Line today, and I want to thank everyone for calling in this morning and sharing their views and thoughts on a variety of subject matters, and all those people that have been emailing us. I've read every one of them. It's great to hear your thoughts and your concerns and your opinions. And I'm Darren Bent signing off. Myself and Dave Williams.